The Bermuda Beast. Definitely seen as one of the most obscure monsters of the sea, potentially inhabiting the area of the Bermuda Triangle, is that of the Bermuda Beast. Legends of the creature are vague and have been posited as a theory in the past based around the assumption of previous colossal reports that have been scattered throughout the area. This ultimately means that, though the monster itself has never been seen, it exists in theory as to the creature responsible for that of the many different disappearances of both naval vehicles and airplanes that fly overhead. The theory behind that monster is that it is a deep-sea inhabiting creature that surfaces only in the area of the Bermuda Triangle and is more than 3 times the size of the Eiffel Tower. Many skeptics of this monster believe that such a creature could not exist, as the size of the creature would theoretically collapse under its own weight, as the blue whale is the largest recorded animal to have ever existed, and so is believed to be the largest an animal can grow in size. This theory has been challenged, however, as the size of the creature heard in the bloop recordings would be roughly the size of the Eiffel Tower, and that it could very well be that this strange Bermuda Beast is merely the bloop-like creature that takes a larger form when surfacing. This is a common practice amongst fish that live deep within the ocean, as the large amount of water pressure mostly compresses their forms but slowly enlarge as they get closer to the surface or adapt ballooning adaptations to make themselves seem larger. This could be the reason as to why even planes flying at 3,000 feet seem to disappear, as many believe it is possible that this Bermuda Beast creature can jump a great distance out of the water, similar to that of blue whales. The Hopkinsville Goblin. Back on the 21st of August in the year of 1955, there is an impossible-to-explain incident that led to many believing that perhaps some strange extraterrestrial beings, later given the name of the Hopkinsville Goblins, had made contact with humans, being only to demonstrate a malevolent behaviour. According to the police report surrounding the incident, the Hopkinsville Police Department reported that 5 adults and 7 children entered the police station, obviously distraught and in a panic. They reported to the police department that they had been in a gunfight lasting more than 4 hours after small alien creatures had come out of a spaceship and began to attack them at their farmhouse. According to 2 witnesses of the event, they claimed that there had been somewhere between 12 and 15 short humanoid figures that had repeatedly popped up at the doorway and peered in through the windows that forced the family to open fire to keep the creatures from entering the home. As they would shoot the creatures, they claimed they would fall to the floor momentarily, only to roll away and get back up and resume trying to enter the home. The others gave descriptions of the creatures that they believed were extraterrestrial beings standing at roughly 2 to 4 feet tall and had large pointed ears, claws for hands, and large eyes that glowed yellow. This led to the police department sending 4 city police, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police to the farmhouse to conduct an investigation on the matter, leading to them finding evidence of the gunfights, bullet holes, and clawed attempts to enter the home against the doors and windowsills. A few hours later, the family would pack up and leave the farmhouse entirely after reports claimed the creatures had returned at around 3:30 a.m. and tried to resume the gunfight once more. Nothing more was ever understood from the event following this incident. The creatures of Mount Nyangani. Being one of the most recent and peculiar mysteries from the past few years is the encounter witnessed atop Mount Nyangani in Zimbabwe. Back in the month of November 2014, a 20-year-old British explorer named Thomas Gaisford journeyed to explore Mount Nyangani in the hopes of finding sights never before seen. The main cause for him being in Zimbabwe was due to him having won a university award that was focused to help pay for trips to new and exciting locations to help with building confidence and discovering new and exciting things about the world. Unfortunately, this trip only provided the opposite effect for Thomas Gaisford. As he went to trek the mountain alone, he had planned to reach the peak and stay there overnight. However, at roughly 3 a.m., a thick fog began rolling in, which left him disorientated and lost. He decided to sit still and camp overnight where he was until the weather cleared up. But he was only met with a thunderstorm that soon arrived at his location. It was at this point that things started getting especially strange. In the fog surrounding him, Thomas Gaisford reported that creatures were circling him and observing him. He had already been warned by the locals to ignore any animals that were acting strangely on the mountain, as the locals explained they were simply not from this world. When the weather finally cleared after 24 hours, he rapidly fled the mountain and never returned. Although some claim that perhaps the amateur explorer had merely gotten dehydrated and became disorientated, locals agree with what he experienced, and not many outside of the local population have ever journeyed up the mountain since then. Perhaps there truly are animals from another dimension on that mountain, and there simply has not been enough who have tried to understand the mountain's peculiar properties to report this finding. Military encounters with the jinn. Definitely seen as one of the strangest reports of modern-day encounters with the jinn was a military encounter seen in Mosul, Iraq back in June of 2003. An Iraqi soldier and other fighters were stationed at the second floor of a police department to assist with the attacks against the police between the locals and the law enforcement of the city. A lot of people were confused by the sudden attacks by the police, and so one of the main purposes of the Iraqi army assisting with safety was to uncover the reasons as to why such disturbances were taking place. In one of the reports taken by an Iraqi military squad stationed for 24/7 surveillance, they claimed that they encountered several jinn of whom were watching and patrolling the station. The report details that they believed the individuals to be jinn due to the fact they had glowing red eyes and seemed completely unfazed by the bright surveillance lights used to blind passers-by of whom attempted to get too close to the station at night. Shortly after the report was filed, the entire station was attacked and every soldier and police in the department were killed with no survivors. It then circulated that the jinn were at the centre of the attack, and the majority of the disturbances were caused by the jinn waging the plans of attack. After the report surfaced, the attacks stopped, with many locals claiming that the jinn went back into hiding after they were discovered. The Ghul. Through Arabic folklore is that of terrifying legends and reports of an entity similar to that of the jinn, referenced throughout the Quran, but cursed to roam and dwell in uninhabited locations away from people. This entity is known as the Ghul. The Ghul is that of a shape-shifting demonic entity that has been reported as inhabiting cemeteries, wandering through the desert and taking the form of animals and loved ones in an attempt to get close to someone before devouring them. Variations of the Ghul legend claim that once a Ghul devours someone, it will begin to take their form and become stuck in that form until another person is devoured or an incantation is spoken to allow it to return to its truly demonic form. It is due to this reason why many believe the Ghul inhabits cemeteries, as to allow it to take the form of recently deceased loved ones and whoever else it chooses. Interestingly enough, there are a number of conspiracies and reports all throughout Iran and Afghanistan with people believing that the demonic entities of the jinn and the Ghul roam the land in an attempt to continue spreading war and violence. There are even a number of Iranian military reports that speak of encounters with Ghul and jinn several days before a large riot or attack was perpetuated by local populations. This has led some to believe that these entities are responsible for the turmoil throughout the countries and could be working to spread the influence of such violent tendencies throughout the populace. The Great White Shark Case. One of the most recent underwater mysteries that have left many researchers fearful for what might be lurking under the waters is that of the missing Great White Shark Case. According to a written research report filed back in 2003, scientists had placed a tracking device on a 9-foot-long great white shark located off the coast of Australia. The purpose of this tagging was to gather research information relative to the habits of the creature, and so scientists chose the largest shark in the region in the hopes that it would live a longer life as it had fewer predators capable of taking it down. However, only a few days later, that would prove to not be the case. Suddenly, the tracking device showed the shark descend more than 1,900 feet in a matter of seconds, with its body temperature reaching heats 20 degrees higher than it's physically capable of supporting, despite being at such lower and colder depths. This left researchers believing that a massive animal swallowed the creature whole and dove down deeper than any other larger animals of its size are capable of reaching. This has left many wondering if there is a much larger species of shark that is capable of swallowing the 9-foot-long great white shark in one gulp, as well as generating caloric heat temperatures far greater than any other animal known in the animal kingdom.